So this podcast has been around for a really long time. This is episode 370, something like that. There's a weekly show, and I did the math. Weekly show, 370 episodes is like 6.6 years. And it's actually a little longer than that because we had a small hiatus of like 6 months between episode 150, 151, something like that. It was a rebrand back then. I bring this up to say, over the years, I've seen a lot of people who need help with running their freelance business. And we've also coached hundreds of clients in the last just several years alone. And people have come to me with their massive laundry list of shit that they have tried and failed in order to grow their business. They've tried networking, they've tried cold outreach, they've tried paid ads, they've tried blogging, they've tried podcasting, they've tried social media, they've tried asking for more referrals, they've tried pivoting to a new niche, they've tried launching new pricing plans, new packages, a billion other things. And yet the one thing they never have is data. And no, this is not a data episode. Don't like back out now. Like, oh God, I don't want to watch another data episode. You already did that back on episode 332. It's called The 7 Must-Track Metrics That Will Make You More Money in 2025. Good episode, but that's not what we're talking about today. I bring this up because this pattern shows up again and again and again and again and again for freelancers because you're unsophisticated. You don't know how to run a business. You're literally just coasting through life with spaghetti marketing. You're throwing shit at the wall, hoping that something sticks. And these random acts of marketing are just things you picked up here and there from this podcast, from other podcasts, what you saw from Alex Hormozi, what you saw from insert other influencer there. But at the end of the day, you're flying blind. You have no idea how to fix all the bad shit that's happening in your business or the good things that are happening in your business. You have no idea how to keep making it happen because, again, you're flying blind and just throwing things at the wall. You have no idea really what works, what doesn't work, why things don't work, why things do work. And so this episode, I want to talk about 3 core things to learn about your business ASAP. This is a self-reflection, self-information, self-learning episode because most people go their entire freelance careers never learning these 3 things. And the reason I want you to learn these 3 things is because it brings consistency in your business. Consistency. Remember that word, consistency. We actually just did a deep dive survey where we sent out a survey to our entire like 60,000 person email list or how many people we have. We're trying to learn what your struggles are, what your goals are, what you're trying to do. It helps this podcast, it helps us with a lot of things. But the word consistency showed up so many times. And if you want consistency, that means you need consistent results. And if you want consistent results, you need to take consistent effort. If you want to take consistent effort, you need consistent work. And if you want to take consistent work, you need actually confidence in what you're doing. And confidence comes from learning. And by learning these 3 things that most freelancers never learn, you will be confident enough to put in consistent work, which will provide enough results so that you're willing to give consistent effort. And that consistent effort will give you consistent results, which is what you want. And those consistent results are, again, the thing that you're likely missing right now to give you consistency, which is why you have the ups and downs, feasts and famines, maybe why you're in a big slump right now. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, or maybe you're new here, hi, I'm Brian Hood. This is the 6-Figure Creative Podcast. This is a company that was just me a long time ago, and now it's 11 people from all over the world, from California to Nevada, to Tennessee, to Pennsylvania, to New Jersey, to Vermont, to Portugal, to Romania, to Israel, all the way to New Zealand. This is a global company now. And most of my team has built 6-figure or multiple 6-figure businesses. 3 have been heads of marketing at 7- and 8-figure companies. And 3 have built 7-figure or multiple 7-figure companies of their own. So this podcast is a conglomeration of all our ideas, all of our perspectives from our entire team's diverse background, plus the hundreds of clients that we coach, plus all the industries that all of us look to when we're learning marketing, sales, fulfillment, when we're learning best practices for processes. We take all of those things up and we package them for episodes for this podcast so that you, Mr. and Mrs. Creative Freelancer, can run a better business that brings you more money without having to sell your soul in the process. So that sounds like something you're interested in. You're in the right place. So before we get into the 3 things I want you to learn about your business, I want to talk through first things that get in the way, because I can tell you all day about what to do, but the problem is the reason you're not doing it is because there's things that are getting in the way, and those things are sabotaging you and your business. So I've got a list of things that are actually holding you back in multiple ways, not just this way that we're going to talk about today, the things that you need to learn about your business, but these things hold you back in almost every way. And these are really common for freelancers, so it's worth discussing here. And the first thing I want to talk through is overcomplicating. Some of our clients are this way. We call them internally complexifiers. So if you're a complexifier on our client roster, I'm going to call you out right now. But a complexifier or someone who overcomplicates is someone who turns even the simplest task into a major project. There's a Charlie Day meme from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I'm pulled up on the screen here if you're watching on YouTube. But it represents the overcomplicator or the complexifier. Maybe you've seen this before. It's Charlie Day in his like business casual shirt with a tie. He's in khakis and a belt. And he's facing the screen with a crazed look on his face, holding a pen and his arms referencing back on the board behind him. And behind him is just papers all over the wall with lines attaching things to each other. And the meme that I pulled up just for this episode, and it says, me planning the hundreds of different ways a simple upcoming 2-minute social interaction can play out. You've probably done this in your own business. You've taken something super simple and you've overcomplicated it to the point where you can't even make a choice now. You can't make a decision. You've overthought it. You've overcomplicated it. So I want to give a real life example of a client we work with who did this. And I want to just talk through, I'm going to throw one of the bus for a second, but obviously I'm not going to name names, but these examples come from real situations that can represent things that you've likely done yourself in an effort to illustrate how overcomplicated you can make something very, very simple. So the scenario is this: we're helping a client with their pricing. They were struggling with how can they accurately reflect project profitability in the spreadsheet. And for context, he was in an agency. He has to factor in profit margins with team members. And he needs to think through, in this case, lifetime value of a client, not just one-time projects, which is fair. And usually the pricing that we help people through, the process we help them through, is help them figure out how to price per project. So obviously there's a little disconnect there between what he's trying to do versus what we were walking him through, but it's a pretty easy fix. All it is just find your cost to deliver and then pad that with your desired profit. So if it costs you either one project or for the lifetime of that client, if it costs you $1,000, $10,000 to fulfill on that, and you want to profit, let's just call it 80% gross margins, which is what Alex Hormozi suggests. If you can manage that, let's just say it's a $1,000 project, then you need to charge at least $5,000. If your costs are $10,000 to fulfill and you want 80% gross margins, then you need to charge $50,000. That's the easy solution. And if your hard costs are $10,000 and you charge $50,000 and the client says yes, then you're good. Move on with your life. There's other things to focus on in your business. If the client says no, then we need to find a way to cut costs or reduce your desired profit. So if the client says no to $50,000 and the market's not there for a $50,000 project, then we need to either bring it down to maybe $30,000 or $25,000. But now your margins have fallen down. So now we need to figure out, how do we cut margins? Do we cut things out? Do we find cheaper labor? Do we find ways to speed things up via other tools or AI even? And we never even get to the point to figure that out until we roll out a price and present it to our clients. And the problem with overcomplicating or complexifying these sorts of things is we never get to that point to actually learn. So like I said, here's a simple solution. Figure out your hard costs, add your margin on top of that, what your desired margin is, and see if the client will say yes to that. That's basically it. It's really simple. It's stupid simple. Six Figure Creative is a multi-seven-figure company at this point, and this is essentially what we do. But let me give you his overcomplicated suggestion for what he wanted, what his desire was for us to provide him. Instead of just tweaking the spreadsheet, instead of just adding a column for maybe lifetime value, instead of just figuring out your lifetime gross costs, adding on your desired margin and calling it a day, he brought up corporate finance. He brought up CFOs. He brought up cost abstractions. The client wanted a CFO, which is a chief financial officer. Usually you wouldn't even mention a CFO to your 8-figure, 9-figure company, but wanted a CFO-level pricing document that includes post-cost profit calculations, lifetime value estimations, volume multipliers, KPI, alignment, internal metrics, all these things. The truth be told, I don't really know much about. I know enough to make a very good profitable business. And at my level, low multi-seven-figure business right now, I'm not too worried about all these extra things because I have a million other problems in my business that need to be solved, and this isn't one of them. And because our client overcomplicated this, the result is he never actually made the changes he needed to make to his pricing because he wanted this way overcomplicated solution that matched his worldview of how complicated pricing should be in his business, when the reality is it's pretty damn simple. Until you're 8 figures, it's pretty damn simple. And the lesson here is do not confuse complexity with clarity. Overcomplicating something is not actually helping you. If you asked, what's the dumbest way we could solve this without overcomplicating it, what would it be? It's usually the right answer. And until that is a real bottleneck in your business, there's no reason to overcomplicate it. So that's the first thing that gets in the way. And I want to give you, again, that example because it's so important that you don't overcomplicate things. If there is a simple solution presented to you, try the simple solution until it doesn't work. And when it no longer works, find why didn't it work and then start to investigate what other things do I need to do or change or add or even take away in order to make this thing now work for me. Instead of the Charlie Day crazy meme with all this shit behind him with a crazy face saying, I need all these things in my pricing model. So that's the first thing, overcomplicating. Next thing that gets in your way of learning these 3 things, again, we're going to get to the 3 things in this episode, but learning the 3 things that you need is the problem with overthinking. And overcomplicating and overthinking are 2 of the same thing. However, what I tend to think of when I say overthinking is analysis paralysis. You're not even doing the Charlie Day whiteboard thing behind you. You're just in your own head, internalizing it. So maybe in your head, it's like that. But it doesn't have to be overcomplicated. It can be a very simple A or B question. Should I go with A? Should I go with B? Should I go with black? Should I go with white? Should I go up? Should I go down? And that lack of committing to one thing is holding you back from making a decision because you overthink it. A real life example, again, is we had a client overthink something as simple as niche selection. Niche selection. Which niche should you go with? For 3 months. I'm gonna put some numbers on this. We charge $750 a month. There's your transparent pricing for you. $750 a month is what we charge for coaching. This client spent $2,250 of their money trying to decide between niche 1 and niche 2, simply because they couldn't make a decision. By the way, this is with our coaches constantly pinging them, trying to get them to make a decision. Hot seats, whatever we need to do to get them to make a decision, and yet they never make the decision. And to put that in perspective, we've had clients completely build their entire client acquisition systems in less time than that. And yet she couldn't make this simple decision. In reality, we could have tested 5 or more different niches, could have actually tested them with real data, real numbers, real eyeballs. In that time frame, in that 3 months, 5 different niches. We could have chosen the wrong one 4 times and then finally landed on the 5th time in that time frame. And instead, the client left the program unhappy with their lack of results, which I understand. You didn't get results. I wouldn't be happy with that either. However, the lack of results is from lack of making choices. And the lack of making choices because of the overthinking. And the overthinking, again, we'll get to how we solve this in a bit, but the overthinking is what a lot of people do when it comes to just making important decisions about things. And the easy solution to this, we'll talk about in a second, is getting real numbers, getting actual data, letting the market decide. So that's the second thing that gets in the way of actually learning these 3 things that I need you to learn in this episode: overthinking. And the last one here is a nefarious one because it feels so good. Procrasturbation. What is procrasturbation? That's just a play on words. It's just procrastinating. It's self-pleasuring. And it looks like this. It's you're getting ready to get ready. Overlearning and listening to this podcast. You've binged through the last 100 episodes in the last 6 months. Well, I appreciate you listening to my voice for that long. That's not helping you necessarily. Maybe if you're early in your career and you're still just trying to get your bearings and stuff, we actually have over 60% of our people are full-time. Over 60% of the people that listen to the show are already full-time. I think 20% are over 6 figures that listen to this podcast, which is awesome. I love that I've built such a good, mature, serious audience of listeners. To have thousands of people that listen to the show and have that level of people listening is awesome. And coming from a procrastinator who has gone through my binges of overlearning where I'm just constantly binging things and doing little to actually make change, I've gone through long seasons of that, years of that. I'm not in one of those seasons right now, thankfully, so I'm a recovering procrastinator. But that may be something that you currently struggle with. Another thing, it's not just learning that can be procrastination, is you're tweaking the stuff that's comfortable but doesn't ultimately matter. So maybe you're tweaking your logo again. Maybe you are updating your About Me section of your website. Maybe if you're a web designer, you're tweaking your website for the 10th time. And basically, we just avoid doing all the stuff we know we need to do, and we fill our time with shit that we want to do. And then this is the worst part. Because we fill our time with all the shit we want to do, we lie to ourselves and say that we do not have time to do the other stuff. And so I see this with clients as well. A client will come into the program. They will get their roadmaps that we've built out for them. We've painstakingly created for them of here's how we're going to build your client acquisition system out. They agree to it. They want to do it. They're like, this is awesome. Then they just start a little bit strong or not strong at all. And they just taper off and don't do the work. And the reason they're not doing the work is because the work is hard. And sometimes it can be boring. We have to do boring stuff. Alex Hormozi's, it's one of their core values at acquisition.com is do the boring work. And he says that rich people always do the boring work. That's the difference. And so when you don't want to do that work and you fill all your time with the shit you want to do, but it's ultimately not moving the needle in any way, shape, or form, you lie to yourself and your coach, in this case, telling us and yourself that you don't have time to do it. But the reality is you do have time to do it. You just don't want to do it. And you filled your time with all the things that aren't helping, but you want to do. And the fix for this is simple. It's not easy. It's fix the actual needle mover, the actual bottleneck in your business, the shit that's holding you back right now. And when you know that thing, which is what we help all of our clients with, when you know that thing, you time block it like it's the gym. 30 minutes every morning, 45 minutes every morning, an hour every morning, every afternoon, after work, whatever it is, it's time blocked. And you see it everywhere. You see people who have lots and lots of money, who are busy as hell, and they're in great shape because they prioritize going to the gym every day. And then you see people very similar, very busy, very successful, and they are out of shape, physically not where they want to be because they didn't make time for the gym. And then you see the other side. You see people who have plenty of time and they still don't go to the gym. They're out of shape. They don't want to do it. And then you have people that have a lot of time and they obviously can prioritize the gym because they have a lot of time. You see it on all sides of the spectrum. If it's important to you, you will make time for it. And by not time blocking the things that are important, the actual needle movers, the things fixing the bottleneck in your business, you were saying to yourself that this is not important, that I do not want this thing. And you cannot have the desire for a consistent 6-figure, multi-6-figure, 7-figure business. You cannot have that desire for that sort of business if you're not willing to put in the work to have that sort of business. And then one thing that helps with this is creating what I call your do not do list. This is the list of things that you are not allowed to do. You're not allowed to touch it until this bottleneck is fixed. So if we know that you are generating no leads right now, that you are up and down, feast or famine, then we need to fix your lead generation efforts first before we worry about the laundry list of things you could do that you want to do because they're more fun, but you don't really want to do the stuff that's over here that's not fun because it's scary because you've never done it before. No. We touch none of the bad stuff. We only touch the good stuff. This is your do not do list. And by having a physical list somewhere, in a Notion document or a Post-it note on your screen, a constant reminder, I don't touch these things right now, is a good fix for procrastination. So that is the last thing here I want to talk through when it comes to getting in the way of learning these 3 things. Now let's go back to what I said earlier. People come to us, they're struggling, they're trying a bunch of stuff, they have no idea what's working, what's not working, why it's not working. They really don't know anything about themselves. And the thing that we do with our clients is we help them learn these things. And I'll give you the 3 things to learn right now. The first is, we already talked about this. The first is, what niche is best for you? And the reason people struggle with this, the 2 biggest dangers are fear of missing out. They feel like that if they make this decision, they're pigeonholing themselves and they can't ever get out of it and they're going to be doing this for the rest of their life. That's not true. It's not forever. You can still work with other niches. You can still work with all your past clients. You can still work with anyone who wants to hire you. The niche selection is just so that we can actually create a cohesive message and put it in front of the right people in a way that's powerful and drives action and turns strangers into clients. And you cannot do that with watered down anything for everyone messaging. I swear to you, it just does not work. And small business owner is not a niche, by the way. We'll talk about that later. The other biggest danger here, which I talked about before, is not just fear of missing out. It's just making no decision. When you make no decision, then you have decided, again, I don't want to do this. It is a no by default. It is no change by default. You're back to the default state. And the default state is nothing, not working, inconsistent results. And the best mental frame I can give you for making the decision, for finding the right niche for you, which by the way, you likely don't know the best niche for you, but the best mental framework here is this makes everything else work. By finding the right niche, everything else will work, or everything else will depend on this. If you don't get this right, or you don't at least try to get this right, nothing else will work. Your marketing will be weak. You won't be able to attract any new people to your business. You won't get any new leads. Your sales process will be weak because you won't have the right words to say to them. Your offer will be weak because you won't have the right thing to offer to the right person because it's too watered down. The more concentrated your niche, the more concentrated you are as a freelancer, the more powerful you can be to the right person. And that's what a niche is. How do you find the best niche? I'll talk about this in a second because all three of these are solved in a very similar way. But that's the first thing to learn for you is what is the best niche for you? And you might already know it. If that's the case, good. We can move to the next thing here. The second thing is what is the best offer for your niche? And when I say offer, I mean, the term offer, I've never really loved that term. I heard it probably for the first time around 2018, 2019. Actually, it might've been in 2017. And it was like in the internet marketing world. And I just thought, this is weird. I don't like that phrase. I saw it like an email from someone else in my industry selling something. And they said, I don't know, they used the word offer and it didn't resonate with me. I thought it was icky or weird in like internet marketing. But with the book $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi, I've actually one of his books behind me right there. I don't know where $100 Million Offers is somewhere downstairs right now. I review it a lot. But with that book, now the word offers, I think is in a better standing now because people actually understand what an offer is. But the easiest way I can explain it here is, what are you offering your client? That's basically it. What are you offering your client? And depending on which niche you select, in some cases, which niche selects you, because you don't always get to choose, all offers are not created equally. And so offer A might be okay. Offer B might be god awful. And offer C might be amazing. And by choosing the wrong one, you're just swimming upriver. You're going against the grain your entire life because you chose offer B instead of A or C. And C would be amazing. A would be doable, but C would be amazing, but you never get to C because you're stuck with B. You never even tested A, and we never even got to C. It wasn't even a thing to try. And the biggest danger here for figuring out the best offer for your niche is twofold. It's either overthinking, which I talked about before, where you know really what you should be trying out, but you just can't make the decision because you're overthinking it. You're thinking through all the different possibilities that it could be. And you're trying to think that there's a perfect solution to this, but there's not. There's no perfect solution. It's just a solution. There was like a 6-year period where I was like perpetually single in my 20s. And I was seeing like a counselor for just getting out of my own head what was wrong with me at this time. And I think the problem was at that time, I was looking for the one. And the way that my counselor reframed it to me is this girl could be the one, but there is no the one. And I think people mess this up so much is they don't want to pick the wrong one, whether it's a spouse or whether it's your niche or whether it's your offer. They don't want to pick the wrong one, but there is no right or wrong one. It's just a right one. There could be multiple wives out there for me. I finally found the one and I'm married to her and I love her and I'm not going to leave her. And there's no one out there for me. She is now the one. But when we were dating, she was possibly the one. And now she is the one. So think of it like dating. When you're trying different offers, trying different niches, think about it like dating. Instead of overthinking it, figure out this could be the one. Let's date this niche. Let's date this offer. Let's test it. And then if it makes sense, we'll move forward with this. And again, here's a mental frame for this. This isn't forever. Unlike marriage, which should be forever for your whole life at least, in which people will not get married sometimes because they feel like they'll get bored of their spouse. With niche selection, this isn't forever. You can do what we call niche stacking. With offer selection, this isn't forever. You can do what we call offer stacking, where you start to build out multiple offers or build out multiple niches. And usually you don't do both. You pick one or the other, but that creates the variety that you want. The other mental frame is this will make you more money. Having the right offer will make you more money, hands down, period. And the other danger here, I didn't really talk about this, the other danger that holds you back from choosing the right offer, or really that holds you back from any of these things that I'm going to talk about today, is procrasturbation. I've already talked about this at great length, but when it comes to your offer, it can be a lot of work to put together a really good offer. If you ever go through $100 Million Offers, the book, you'll know how much work it can be to really put together and think through a good offer. It takes a lot of thinking time. It takes a lot of time to actually write down, do the work, and it can be boring. It can be hard. It can give you decision fatigue. But again, this isn't forever. It'll make you more money. So that's the second thing to learn is just what is the best offer for your niche, similar to the finding the niche in general. Those two things really are like the 1-2 punch when it comes to marketing. The third of like the 1-2-3 punch or the knockout punch here is learn this. What is the best message to hook, this is important, to hook in perfect fit clients. When I say message here, I mean like 75 to 100 words can make or break you. 75 to 100 words. Just think through that. 75 to 100 words. It's like 30 seconds spoken out or 30 seconds in a video can make or break you. And just to put this into like reality here, I have made ads that are 30 seconds long that have made me hundreds of thousands of dollars because it was the right thing to bring in the perfect fit client for us. Every ad has a lifespan of some sort, but many freelancers never figure this out because, and this is the biggest danger here, is you're just making assumptions that aren't true. You think you know the best message, or you think you know any message at all, and it's not true. The other danger here is slow learning. This is not a place for spending a bunch of time. And generally, most freelancers don't have a way to rapidly test hooks or messages to figure out what's going to work for them versus fail. And so if you don't have a way to test rapidly, then you have a very slow speed of learning. And if you're just making assumptions based on not reality, then you're testing assumptions very slowly, which means you're in this world for a long time. So my best advice here, and this is for trying to find your niche, trying to find your offer, trying to find your messaging, because sometimes one of these three things is off, it'll all fail. A lot of times you'll have a decent niche for you, you'll have a solid offer, and you'll nail the messaging. That'll go well. And then we realize the weak link is the niche. We need to go back and test more niches. My advice is to get as many eyeballs as possible, as quickly as possible. And some of you have larger organic audiences, you have high website traffic, so we can rapidly test different things in different ways to get real data to know what's working, what's not working. But most of you don't. Most of you do not have a way to get a lot of eyeballs. So my mental framework here for you is paying for eyeballs saves you so much time. And time is money, honestly. So especially if you're paying a coach to help with this. So generally we need, just to give you some numbers, we need 3,000 to 5,000 eyeballs on something, on a message, to know if it's a pass or a fail. Generally need 3,000 to 5,000. It can be less, but generally 3,000 to 5,000. And actually, I'd say for a single test, it's 3,000 to 5,000 eyeballs. For a single message, it's probably only 1,000 or 2,000. But if you're doing paid ads, it's like 50 to 100 bucks. If you're doing it right and you're following the process that we give you, 50 to 100 bucks, 50 to $100. And this is why we give our clients $500 ad budget, is because with that $500, we can get 5 to 10 tests, whether we're testing messaging hooks, whether we're testing different offers, whether we're testing different audiences or AKA avatars or AKA niches. If we're doing one of those 3 tests, we can get 5 to 10 of those before we've depleted that budget. But the key here is we've tested this with real humans, real eyeballs, real people making real decisions on whether they want to hire you or not, whether they want to become a lead or not, whether they want to get on a phone with you or not. And when you have that sort of actual data coming in and you're really learning, not just assuming, not just talking to your friends, talking to your family, talking to past clients who want to appease you, not just talking to people who don't even know what the right answer is. You are literally putting it in front of people that are out in the world. They're deciding, is this the right message? Is this the right hook? Is this the right offer for me? And when you do it right, you now have a way to consistently bring in clients, the right fit clients, who will pay you a fair rate, if not above a fair rate. We've had clients land $30,000 to $50,000 projects from paid ads. And that's in the B2B space. I've had clients bring in $10,000 to $15,000 projects through the audio or music production space because we go through this exact same process with everyone in some way, shape, or form. Not everyone does not do paid ads, but most of them do because they don't have a way to get real eyeballs on them. And sometimes we just need to do paid ads to learn rapidly, and then we can use organic methods for the long term. But if you struggle with overcomplicating things and you make everything that Charlie Day meme where he's just got all these like boards behind him trying to piece together all the pieces, if you're an overthinker, if you're a procrastinator, and you want to learn these 3 things about your business, or obviously more, there's so much more to this, but those are the 3 big things, and you want some help with this, I'm happy to offer me and my team's help on this. This is what we do all day, every day. Like I said, we've got a team of very experienced people that understand client acquisition, that understand positioning, that understand messaging, that understand marketing. Combined, our team has spent $15, $16 million on paid ads, something like that, profitably. And I haven't even calculated what that revenue has generated, but in the tens of millions. That's the level of experience you have working with us for $750 a month. And we also don't have contracts long-term, so it's just cancel any month. So that's all I got for you today. If you want to apply to see if you're a good fit, we reject probably half the people that apply for various reasons. If you're not good at what you do, if you just half-ass the application, if you are in a niche that we really can't help, or an industry that we can't really help, if you're mean to us, those are some of the reasons we reject. But if you want to get that application started, just go to sixfigurecreative.com/coaching, fill out the short application and see if you're a good fit. If you are, you'll hear from us. So that's all I got for you this week. Until next time, I'll see you on the Six Figure Creative Podcast. Peace.